Gov, you are a very busy man. How excited are you for what could be the best weekend of football this year?
It's going to be one of the best weekends of the year because it's one of the best weekends for football of the year. This is a time when I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to grab a good cigar. I'm going to sit there and have my drinks ready, and I'm just going to just watch some of the best football all year being played on both Saturday and Sunday. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, our state is the only state in the country with 2 teams playing this weekend. Only state in the country.
That is cool. Let
them know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Come on.
I didn't think about that.
Come on. That's right. Only state in the country.
And you probably know this. I mean, how much bigger is like New York, Texas? And where does Maryland rank population-wise?
Oh, if you look at the other states that have 2 teams, right? Only other states that have 2 teams in their state. You have California, you have Texas, right? You have New York,
Florida,
and Florida.
And
think about it. And think about it, right? Texas, what's Texas population? 30 million?
Too many.
Something like that. So it's like Texas's population is 30 million people.
Wow.
Florida is probably a little over 20, probably 20, 21, I'm assuming, something like that. We are at a population of 6.5 million people, yet we don't just have 2 football teams. We're the only state with 2 in the playoffs.
Wow, that's awesome.
Say something.
That's really cool.
Say something, Gavin. Say something, DeSantis. Say something. Who else? Say something, Kathy. Say something.
DeSantis tried to troll us. He declared it Mike Evans Day in Florida the day before the Commanders.
And then Dulles Airport destroyed Tampa Airport.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. Say no more now. He ain't a real fan. Say no more now.
All right. Gov, now we have a crack research team here at the BMitch and Finlay program. You may not be aware of that because we keep it very, very well hidden. But so I don't know how we landed on this, but there's a lot of pictures of you in football jerseys. It seems like you wear a Lamar jersey to most Ravens games. I know you've worn a Sean Taylor jersey to Commanders games. When you worked out with the Terps, you were wearing a 24 because I assume it was the 24 season. But there's one photo of you at a Ravens game with a number 63 jersey. How did you get 63?
Because I'm the 63rd governor of the state of Maryland.
For real?
Yes, the 60. But so that's it. So when I came on board, I was like, what number do I want? So now the number I used to wear. So here's the thing. When I used to play basketball, I played with number 10.
Okay.
Then in football, I actually played with an 89. And so when I came on board, I was like, what number do I want to use? And I was like, I know my number. I'm going 63. So so I told them I wanted 63. So they were kind enough to give me a number 63 jersey.
So there's been more governors. So when I saw that, I wondered that, but then I was like, I think we're only on the 47th president. There can't be more governors, but I guess there were governors back in the colonial days.
That's exactly right. So what's actually wild
we're learning stuff today.
This is the only state in the country where our state capital used to be the nation's capital. Annapolis is the only place that actually used to be the nation's capital. And this is the oldest operating state house in America. People forget the history of this state is fascinating. We're the northernmost southern state in the entire country. The Mason-Dixon line literally runs through the state of Maryland. I mean, the state of Maryland, you can't understand American history if you don't know us.
That's fascinating. I didn't know the national capital thing. And Annapolis, the only bowl game, as far as I know, the military bowl that has its own bar crawl. So we also got that going.
and then there's that.
All right, Gov, let's get down to business. Maryland Governor Wes Moore joining us on the Rude Guest Hotline. Let's get what I think are the less consequential ones out of the way. Let's start in the college ranks because we're going to pick the college national championship game Monday night. Ohio State, Notre Dame. This one it should be pretty damn exciting. I can find reasons to like either side.
I can too. And Ohio State, I know, is the favorite on this one. And by the way, what's really amazing about not just college football, but this level of college football was the head coach of Ohio State. Literally a month ago, they were talking about him being on the hot seat after he lost to Michigan. I mean, after he lost to Michigan, they're like, yo, it doesn't matter how good you do. If you can't beat Michigan, you're going to be out of a job. And then they had the whole, fight and all that kind of stuff at the 50-yard line. And so there were real questions about whether or not he would return a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a month later, he's in the national championship game. So I guess he's answered those questions. I mean, Ohio State is looking really good. Ohio State really, and their line, specifically their offensive line is very, very good. And I know they are the favorite on this one. But as y'all know from my picks, I love an underdog story. And I really do believe that that Notre Dame is going to pull this one off. I am loving this kid Jeremiah Love. I think he is. I think we're going to be watching him on Sundays, and I think he's doing a really good job of helping to maintain and pace the offense because the running game is so strong. And so I like Marcus Freeman. I think he's been a good coach and what he's been able to do for them. So I think Notre Dame actually pulls off the upset on this one, and the Fighting Irish become the national champions.
That's wild. That would be so cool for them.
It'd be awesome.
It really would. I think for Marcus Freeman, B and I were talking about how impressive he's been, and there's a part of me that Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU because he said you can't win a national championship at Notre Dame.
And the man's sitting there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty damn neat.
Brian Kelly might just be a fraud.
He might.
Well, and let me ask y'all a question on that. Sure. Let's say he wins the national championship, or let's say he doesn't win the national championship. Where is Marcus Freeman coaching next year?
In the NFL? Because they already calling him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you leave for another job, and I don't know that another job of that caliber is opening up unless like Bama decides, he's not
gonna be in college.
We'll see.
So both of y'all think he goes to the league?
I think he goes to the league.
I think he's coaching in Notre Dame next year. We'll see. All right, let's go. Why don't we go to the league, Governor? We got 4 divisional round games this week. Talking with Maryland Governor Wes Moore. You can give him a follow at I am Wes Moore, should you like to. Let's start with one that I'm not expecting you to go with the upset here. The Houston Texans headed to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs.
I want to go with the upset so bad. I want to be wrong. I want to see the Texans pull this off. They are not going to. They are not going to Kansas City. They are not going to Kansas City and beating the Chiefs. They're not. I mean, and listen, I'm not saying that the Texans are a bad team. They're not a bad team, but I cannot get Christmas Day out of my head. I can't. They were horrible against the Ravens. Absolutely horrible. And Kansas City is not one to be played with, and especially Kansas City during the playoffs. So I want to be wrong so badly on this one, but I'm going with the Chiefs, and honestly, I'm not sure how close this game is going to be either.
It's going to be really interesting. A veteran-loaded team like that getting that much rest because nobody played Week 18 either. They could be in really good position.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to I think a trickier one, and probably I guess geographically the closest game to either of us. The Eagles are hosting the Rams.
Yeah. Again, I love the upsets. This is going to be one. The Rams are going to win. I think the reason that I think the Eagles are a tough team, and frankly why I think what makes them a tough playoff team is that offensive line is just absurd. They're really, really good. I think Saquon Barkley is obviously playing great football, and he's healthy, and these are all, he's been having such a really special year. I just think about how hot the Rams are right now. I think about the game that we just saw where the Rams literally put up almost like a perfect game last week. I mean, there were no holes. That's the game you watch, and they're like, "What'd you think?" And I'm like, "No notes at all." They came out and they took care of business against a team that probably should have beat them. And I think there is an emotional push that the Rams are having right now, where the Rams know that they have a whole city on their back, and I do think that does matter. Even though it's going to be cold, even though in cold games the natural inclination is always go with the team with the best offensive line, go with the team with the best running backs, go with the team that's hot and healthy. I think the Rams are just playing special football right now. So this is what I think is going to be one of the big upsets of the week, where I think the Rams go into Philly and they take care of business.
That I like that, honestly. I definitely like taking the Rams with the points +6. Hurts has just not looked good in now 6 weeks or something. And I think
That's right.
the teams this time of year that are hot and healthy have a real shot. I think Washington is one of those. We'll do Ravens-Bills last because that's the biggest game of the weekend, but certainly the biggest game for us is Commanders-Lions. Tomorrow night in Detroit. Commanders are big underdogs. What do you think of?
So even before we get into the pick, can we just please acknowledge how amazing this season has been for the Commanders? I mean, honestly, I can't believe it's the end of January and we're talking about Commanders football. I mean, like that we haven't been able to have that conversation about Commanders football in years, and so they really have. They've had a pretty amazing year. And Jaden Daniels, like this dude, he is just showing that you're not going to shake him. No matter what defense you throw at him, no matter what new scheme you throw at him, you're not going to shake Jaden Daniels. And so I think there's a huge future that's ahead for both him and that is ahead for the Commanders. This is going to be a really hard game. Detroit, and playing Detroit is always difficult. Playing Detroit in Detroit is really difficult. Mm-hmm. Playing Detroit in the playoffs is not impossible, but it is really hard because this team, ever since the last playoffs, has kind of just been playing out of their minds. And I just think they're really difficult to beat. And so, I mean, when you're looking at the fact that the Lions are healthy, you're looking at what David Montgomery is out here doing. You're looking at the fact that their offense is just putting up points like it's nobody's business. The Commanders have had an amazing season, and they should be very, very proud of what they've gotten done. But I think it's going to be really hard for them to go into Detroit and come back with a win.
I think that is totally fair. I had a rant earlier in the week about there's a difference between haters and like analysis, and you can look at this matchup and think Detroit's going to win, and it's not hating because you know what? They went 15-2, and they're the 1 seed in the NFC. They're a really good football team. Doesn't mean Washington doesn't have a shot. I really think they have a shot, but if you think Detroit's going to win, it's based in merit.
That's right. They're a good team.
Right.
They're a good team.
Right.
They really are.
The last game of the weekend, Sunday night, 6:30. Dude, I really think this is going to become the highest watched divisional round game ever. Ravens, Bills, 2 MVP candidates, both quarterbacks looking to escape the Mahomes legacy. Both of these guys are in Allen and Lamar in this zone where unless they can win a Super Bowl, kind of the rest of the stuff doesn't matter, which is crazy, but that's where they've entered. Who you got, Gov?
And you're right. You have 2 quarterbacks who the whole world is going to be looking at, and this is helping to determine who's next, right? Who's the guy? And I got to tell you, not only do I think Lamar, who is having just like a ridiculously special year, continues to just, ball out of his mind this weekend. I think the Ravens win because they're just a better team. And I think they've been more tested. And I know they're away, and I know it's hard to beat Buffalo, but hear me out. One, the natural advantage of weather that a team like Buffalo has when you're going out there, that advantage is taken away when you're playing a team like the Ravens. Because the Ravens are used to playing in the cold. Yeah. The Ravens are, what's that whole line from Bane? I was born in the darkness. Right. The Ravens were born in the darkness. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's not a natural advantage that Buffalo is going to have. Not to mention the fact that we're going to be handing the ball to Derrick Henry 25 times. So the cold does not impact Derrick Henry. We saw he was freezing last week, and what did he have? 160, 180 yards? Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, Derrick Henry's not impacted by that. The second thing is, people talk about, well, the Bills had a better record. Do you know how many playoff teams the Bills played during the season? The Bills beat during the season? The answer is 3. They beat 3 playoff teams. So don't talk to me about their record was better when you were beating the New York Jets. It's like, come on, guys, this is not a real thing. the Baltimore Ravens beat 9 playoff teams during the year. 9 playoff teams to get to their record. They had a much tougher schedule. They had a much more difficult division to be able to win in. And frankly, I think that actually goes back to the stats as well, where not only did Lamar Jackson beat Josh Allen when it came to stats, he also beat Josh Allen when it came to beating good teams. So Josh Allen having really good stats when you're playing subpar teams, I just don't know if I'm supposed to be really impressed by that. So I think that not only does Lamar Jackson show why he is going to be a 3-time MVP this weekend, I think that the Baltimore Ravens are just built for games like this weekend. Their defensive line has been fantastic. You getting Zay Flowers back. So I think this is a team that is hot, that is healthy, that's ready to go. And I think Baltimore brings back some Buffalo Hide this weekend.
It's hard not to agree with you. I mean, they looked so good against the Steelers.
Yes, they did.
Gov, where do you – I know that for this Ravens game, you are a very legitimate fan. Do you lock in at Indianapolis at the Governor's Mansion? Like, where do you watch the game?
Oh, yeah. No, my phone's off. Don't call me. My phone's off.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, time for myself.
That's right.
You deserve it. Right.
Self-help day.
Right. I don't ask for much. Just let me watch my football.
You deserve it, sir. Enjoy the football. Let's hope you're right about all the games except the Washington one.
Listen, and let me tell you something. I hope I'm wrong.
Right, I get
about that.
I got you.
But honestly, and my only thing is, no matter what happens this weekend with the Commanders, there is nothing that the Commanders should be, or Commanders fans should be disappointed about. Again, it is the end of January, and we are talking about Commanders football. When is the last time that has been a real statement?
Dude, Reagan was president. Like
exactly.
It's been a while.
Exactly.
Governor, thank you so much, man. We'll catch up next week and enjoy your Ravens game. I know you will.
All right, y'all.
All right, take care, man. Be cool.
Thanks, guys.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore. Always appreciate getting to talk to the Gov.